Hello, everybody. Welcome to Liberty and EDC. I'm your host, Daniel Sellers Norman, and we're here with Brian DeBerry, who's running for District 3 Supervisor. Hi, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little about yourself. Like, who's Brian DeBerry?
Brian DeBerry is a lifelong resident of Dorado County. I grew up in Georgetown. People tell me I've been around here longer than dirt. I'm a Vietnam vet. I worked for Caltrans for 23 years out of Stockton, doing land survey, road construction, road inspection.
When did you serve?
I served in Vietnam from 1968 to 1970.
Wow.
Swore my oath on July 3rd of 1968. Came home. Decided to stay here with my dad, Fred DeBerry, who was the county surveyor for like 23 years. I actually grew up in the survey business and got a small AA degree. And then I found somebody that I wanted to get married to, and we got married, and I have two sons, Randy and Tim. And I've lived in Diamond for 43 years. I started a little newspaper when I retired from Caltrans to try to tell people what I see is happening to them in this county and maybe give them a chance to think about the other side of the issues. And I call it the Miner's Inch, a melodramatic comedy, and you can find it online under theminersinch.us. I also have a Facebook page of the same name, plus my own personal name, which I put stuff on as political commentary nationwide, statewide, and countywide. I see so many issues coming to this county in the next 3 issues that I ran 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I lost by about 600 votes, I believe, something like that, and to Wendy Thomas. And the issues have not gone away. They've only gotten worse, in my opinion. Our roads, after I started and had my insurance pulled for the fact that the roads were not, supposedly by Liberty Mutual, able to handle first responders, I started looking at the roads, and by golly, they're right. The roads we have haven't changed that much since I used to drag race on them in the 60s. I've told people for years, I bet you I can go to the old drag strips and find my rubber marks on the road because they haven't overlaid those roads. They're just, they haven't changed any culverts.
Where are some of those drag strip or those old drag strips in El Dorado County?
There was one on Newtown Road. There was one, the Baki drag strip out on 49 past Coloma. There was Highway 50 at the old Camino first exit up the freeway when nobody was looking. And then there was out here at El Dorado Road, starting this side of the Green Valley Church.
Oh, uh-huh.
And I know there were some others, but I did. And there was one on North Shingle Road towards Lotus, about 2 miles outside of Shingle towards Coloma.
Wow.
But
So
that's where, that was the old days. That's when everybody had hot rods and everybody was showing, you either put up or shut up. So
your insurance dropped you because they said the roads were too bad for emergency
roads were too bad
responders?
for, slowing down first responders because of where I live overlooking Squaw Hollow up on the ridge. The air currents were too bad. What else? There was one third one, like the brush of Squaw Hollow. But I told him, I said, I have a water hydrant in 2 directions, 300 feet. Doesn't matter, Mr. DeBerry, we're gonna cancel you. So I looked around and like I said, this was 10 years ago, right after the Paradise Fire. And the only place I could find was State Farm, and I've been with them ever since.
Yeah, well, insurance has only gotten harder around here since then too.
It's become a really serious situation, and I have an idea which I'm investigating, even if I do not make it into, which I hope I do, into being a supervisor. I really think that what we have to do as a county is we have to self-insure ourselves. And by that I mean the state government self-insures itself, the federal government self-insures itself, the county self-insures, so why can't we, the homeowners? I asked the assessor here 3 months ago, how many taxable parcels are there in El Dorado County? He says there's 135,000 parcels. Okay, if you get the county, he said the county would have to go along, you could put, say, $1,000 on your tax bill. That's $135 million, just about 1,000 for claims. The one thing, if we instituted that, everybody would have to go along with it. You would have to sign an agreement to keep your property fire safe. But I think people that are paying $6,000 or $7,000 for insurance, right, would rather pay $1,000, even $2,000. And we could have the claims. The one thing we cannot allow, if people decide to do it, and if I'm in, I will do everything to help get it done, is we cannot let the county put their hands in the money. We've got to keep it strictly over here, because first time you look the other way, the county's going to go, oh, we need this for that. We need this for that. No, it's strictly for fire protection and people's protection. But I'm going to look really hard into having it done. I've talked to insurance people. They said it can be done, but we have to involve the county.
Is there any other issues that you're running on?
The insurance issue, the road issue, financial things that need to be changed on how the county spends our money. One of them is to do away with the consent calendar that they use in the Board of Supervisors meetings.
The consent calendar? Tell us what that is.
Well, they have it set up now, and they started it when they had Zoom meetings for COVID. You go in there, you're allowed 3 minutes to talk on any subject. If nobody shows up, it's just rubber stamped. They give you 3 minutes, and before I started fussing about it, you had to wait with the fear of a buzzer going off to tell you your 3 minutes were close. The problem with that, to me, is people that live in Sacramento or work in Sacramento obviously will not want to take a day off and come up here and possibly talk for 3 minutes on an issue. It should be open. Any issue should over spending of $5,000 or over should be open for public input, and they're not doing it. They're spending money wherever they want to spend it, in my opinion, without that much. I want to see the agendas published for each week. I want to see the prior agenda published for the last week before in the Mountain Democrat or someplace where the average person that doesn't know where to find this stuff. You have to go on a computer. A lot of older people don't have computers, let alone do they know how to do it. So I think it should be readily available in a public document, public venue, and also not published and put in a little plaque outside the Board of Supervisors chamber. How many people even will take the time to drive up and do that? It's all, to me, in my opinion, designed to restrict the vote of the public, and that is something that I hold very, very highly as the vote of the people. That's, this is a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I don't see where we're getting it now. You can ask people, I talk about the Diamond Springs, Dorado Oaks. There's people that don't even know about that, and yet it's a major impact coming to Diamond Springs.
What is that?
Dorado Oaks. It's a 384 lot subdivision that will eliminate Deb's Frosty and eliminate the place for the flea market on weekends and the brick building that's next to it. The roads can't handle it. We don't have the water. We don't have the sewer. Yet the county is pushing to have this done, and it's been dragging and dragging and dragging. They tried this, I don't think it was the same developer about 12 years ago, tried to do it.
And that's going to be like apartments they're trying to turn it into?
Part of it, but there's also, supposedly when they started, it was low-income housing. Well, $450,000 a year is not low-income housing, in my opinion. Diamond can handle smaller patches of bigger acreage pieces, like they want a quarter acre. Cut the acre to the number of parcels in half, cut it by a third. We could accommodate that. I mean, I challenged him in my paper, and I challenged him in person, the Board of Supervisors. I said, come out and sit in front of Deb's Frosty on any weekday between 3:30 and 5:30. and watch the bumper-to-bumper traffic that's gridlocked Pleasant Valley Road from all the years of pushing and not doing what they needed to do to fix the road. They virtually said nothing. All I got was a thank you, Brian, and that was the end of it. They need, Diamond Springs is at a turning point. The people that live there, we love the little town, because that's where I live, and they forever want to change it, because now they want to put a roundabout in. And that'll totally destroy, to me, the history of Diamond Springs.
I feel like that's always the thing, is why do people want to put roundabouts in all the time?
Well, it's obvious one issue, knowing what they cost, is roundabouts are a lot cheaper than putting a signal in.
Oh, okay.
Those average signals, like we have 2 on Missouri Flat Road right now that they're pending, on Enterprise and Commerce, I believe they're about $4 million a pop to do all the electrical, the whole bit.
$4 million?
A piece.
Wow.
And that's the right of way. So if you go down there into Diamond and put this big, huge turnaround circle in, you probably build it for $250,000,
Okay.
which in my opinion is helping the developer, not the people in Diamond Springs. The county seems to do whenever they want something to happen. They gave another developer a $1.1 million buy on Timpies, which is traffic impact mitigation fees in another part of Diamond Springs. Yet his development is going to impact the road just like everybody else's. So there's a little bit, to me, inequality with how they produce their paperwork and how they handle the finances. I have heard, I haven't seen it, but they want to take, after they do this 386 unit subdivision, they want to go around behind Deer Park, around behind Lake Oaks, all the way to Union Mine School with more subdivision.
Wow.
We cannot, there's no way we can handle it. They've been 43 years or 23 years.
And when you say we can handle it, you mean as far as like water and roads?
Water, roads, safety, fire, the whole, everything. If the Board of Supervisors had done what they should have years ago, they would have had all this stuff in place. They're trying to do this after the horses out of the barn or the cows out of the barn. You know, I'll just shove this in there. We don't care. We need the tax revenue. I mean, when you look at El Dorado County, we don't have mining anymore. We don't have lumber anymore. Our agriculture is dwindling because of EID. Water rates are going up. So the only thing left we have is tourism. And that's starting to suffer because after years of not protecting our tourism, there's not a whole lot of it left. People come here to see what the gold rush looked like. Just for a matter of time, they want to come here and say, yes, this is the hangman's tree. This is where this is. This is where that used to be. They do not want to come here and see downtown Milpitas. So they're going to stop coming eventually. So to me, obviously, what's the last way other than taxation? And this is taxation. How is the county going to raise the money to go forward with? Property taxes. So how do you get the property taxes? You create bigger subdivisions so you can get the current tax rate not protected by Proposition 13.
And what's Prop 13?
Prop 13 limits the tax increase on people. I think the year was like 1990, somewhere in there. You can only go up 2% a year. They're trying really hard in the legislature to do away with it. They've been fighting for years to do away with it. Because it's a big thorn in the people that want to tax and have more money to spend. So they want to do away with it. So we have to, this goes back to the other part of the problem, we have to generate jobs. We have to figure out how to support the tourism. The mining won't be coming back anytime soon. And the lumber business after the last 3 fires is not coming back in my lifetime. So what else is left?
Just tourism?
I asked the county auditor, Joe Harn, if this county could survive with the loss of the grants and loss of El Dorado Hills. He said, no, we can't. There's no way we can do that.
Tell me a little bit more about that loss of grants and loss of El Dorado Hills. What do you mean?
Well, see, right now, El Dorado Hills is the cash cow for property taxes in this county. Once they become a city, then that tax revenue goes into running the city, not the county. So that's automatically off the books.
Okay.
And they would have to do their own mayor, their own infrastructure, their own government down there. There's a lot of talk that it'll go through. Some people say it won't go through.
And that's something
I think it'll have to.
That's something they've been working on.
Yeah, there's a group working on it now, and I've talked to people in it, and they're still pecking away at it. I mean, it may not happen this year, it may not happen next year, but sometime in the next 5 years, it's bound to happen because they realize in a way too they're supporting the rest of the county. So we have to, as the taxpayers of the county, I need elected. I need their help to view their wishes and their thoughts about to handle all these issues I see coming. I know some of the answers possibly, but I don't know all the answers. But there's people out there in this county that from their prior work history, they know the answers. And that's the people I'm looking for to step forward and change this county back to the county it was 50 years ago. Not in attitude, in caring about other people. I just don't see it anymore. I don't see the caring people anymore. It's like when I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, I mean, if I did something wrong and I lived in Georgetown, my parents knew about it before I got home. But that's gone now. I mean, it's just, the whole atmosphere has changed, and I want to develop that people are more attached to their government. They realize that they have somebody that's not afraid to go to the wall for them and speak what they want done and their wishes. I don't think there's been enough of that done in the last at least 30 years.
So you think with more government responsibility, it'll bring a better side of the community out, is what you're saying?
With more community input and more community care, I believe we can change the direction of this county back to a direction that actually cares about people, cares about our seniors, cares about homeless veterans, cares about the homeless people. I just don't see it. I mean, I have people say, what do you think about the homeless issue? And my thought is the government doesn't want to end the homeless problem.
Why do you say that?
Well, the obvious reason is the cash cow. They can take money from here and put it over there and over here, but does the money actually ever get out to help the homeless people? I really don't think it does. It disappears in salaries here, it disappears in salaries over there. It just goes in all the different little places.
So we have a lot of money coming into our county for taking care of homeless, or the homeless people or homeless issues, and that's like getting put elsewhere, you think? I would say the largest percentage goes into administration instead of helping the people it was designed to help. I mean, you look at how long they kicked around the navigation center out here for the county. It was over here. Some group wanted to come in and do this multi-million dollar place at Highway 50 and Missouri Flat Road, and then they found out there was reasons why they couldn't. But it's all about the big word money, or lack of it. And the homeless people, my lodge that I belong to, the Odd Fellows, we for years donated money to the Upper Room Kitchen, which I think is a wonderful thing for the homeless. And I got to know a lot of the homeless. And there is a certain percentage, everybody says, oh, they're drug addicts. Yes, there are some people that are drug addicts. They don't want to change their life. They're happy the way they are. But there is a percentage of people in those homeless people that just had a turn of bad luck. They need a hand up, they need somebody to take the effort to put forward and help them. It's like I read in the Mountain Democrat, there was a couple that found themselves in the Hangtown Haven. They ended up leaving the Haven. They got married. They found a house. I believe they both went back to work as the story progresses.
Mm.
And they've had a child, and I guess they're living happily ever after. Those are the people we have to find.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to find.
What about all the other people though? Like all those homeless people who do.
Will never change their outlook. They don't want much. But there's that 10 or 15% that deserves a hand up. There's those people that, like there's a gentleman, and my son used to run the McDonald's up on Broadway. There was a gentleman who used to hang out on Broadway who had wild hair, and in the summertime he had his shirt off, and people would just avoid him. They'd just go on the other side of McDonald's to stay away from him.
Was he the one with the headphones on all the time?
And I believe he was. They found him, passed away, I guess, out there in the creek behind McDonald's. And suddenly there was an outpouring. All the people, this is so terrible. Yet when you went in there, people would go deliberately out around him. That's part of the problem. It turned out that his family had been looking for him for years.
Oh, wow.
So I think some effort needs to be done to find out where these people come from. Maybe their family, maybe we can help them to go back to where they came from, and their families are looking. It's an attitude perception on the homeless. Back, I guess it was about a year ago, I went down to Home Depot or Sam's Club to get water. Because the homeless kitchen called and they said, we're out of drinking water. So I said, okay, Charlie, I'll go get you some water. So I went down into Sam's Club and I bought, for the lodge, I bought like 40 cases of water. So I'm putting them in the back of my truck, and this gentleman comes over, and he's dressed really nice, an elderly gentleman, and he gets out of this BMW, he's over, and I believe it was during the Caldor fire. And he walks over and he says, are you buying that for the firefighters? And I said, no, sir, no. I said, I'm buying it for the homeless kitchen in Placerville. I said, they need water. They're out of potable drinking water. I saw this look of absolute, a look that I really wouldn't want to push on anybody. He was absolutely horrified that I would do something like that. And as fast as he could, he got completely away from me and disappeared. That's the attitude that I think people have to get rid of. Because of what's happening right now in this country, and I never thought it would be like this, there's going to be a lot more homeless people.
Yeah, and I think that is a very common attitude, in that, people like the idea of helping the homeless, but they don't want to be the ones who get down there. They don't, they just want to throw money at it.
I have to thank the people that do take the time and the care, like the Upper Room Kitchen, that does expend the time and the effort to help them. It's just one of those things that you can't get around, but we have to find a way to fix it. I just don't believe the government, for its different reasons, really cares about fixing it. They can take $10,000, $10 million out of the general fund and go, let's go here and do this and this. Instead of actually doing something to help the people, like they say, we'll do away with all these homeless camps. It's a lot easier, I would think, to take and rent a dumpster from the waste management and take it out by the site and tell them, hey, look, you can stay here, but keep the place clean. If you don't, then you're going to have to move out. Then to go out and do a homeless center or an outreach center, and we still have people, if you go up to county offices during the daytime, sitting on the bank below where they were going to put the outreach, that want to go into now where the outreach is in the old juvenile hall. But they sit there all day long. We just have to figure a better way to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And the churches help, but it's an everybody's issue, because the way it's going, you don't know when you're going to be homeless.
Yeah. So tell me, Brian, if people want to vote for you, you're running for District 3. How do people know if they're in District 3?
I'm sorry.
Where's District 3 at?
District 3 is Camino, Placerville, Diamond Springs, El Dorado. And I believe the western boundary is somewhere around the Red Hawk Casino. Eastern boundary on 50 is about, I think, Cedar Grove, somewhere in there. And it goes north from Highway 50 to the North Fork of the American River. And I believe it goes on the south side, somewhat down with the lines they came up. I'm not sure how they reconstructed the line, somewhere between Pleasant Valley Road and the Yosemite River.
Okay.
But they've got it broke out somewhere in there.
So if someone's in there, they'll be able to vote for you?
Yeah.
And when is our election coming up?
March 5th of this coming year.
Okay.
There's 4 people running. One former supervisor of 8 years. And there's a lady running, and then there's a gentleman running. So there's 4 of us.
Okay. So tell us in, a pretty concise fashion, like, why should somebody vote for Brian DeBerry?
Well, I'm probably going to say they should vote for me because I want to be their voice. I just don't want to go sit up on Mount El Dorado, as I call the county office center.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to go out through my district on my own time or whatever time, and hopefully travel all the roads looking for safety issues, get to know the people on those roads, because I want everybody to be able to walk up to me in Walmart or in the racetrack when the races are going and say, Brian, I have a problem. Can you please help me with that? And it goes along with my theory that my job is to govern, or not govern, I'm sorry, I said the wrong word, to use common sense, care, and compassion. My job is not to govern. I have to help people, and that's what I intend to do if I'm elected, is find the problems. Like right now, I'm working on one right now in Diamond Springs. I've been to the DOT since before Christmas. We have a major leak in Fowler Lane, which goes back to my house in Diamond Estates, or Diamond Heights. It's leaking all over the road for about 300 feet. I went the day before Christmas. On the Friday, they were closed, so the maintenance. Went to Tuesday after, they were closed. So on Wednesday, I finally get somebody to come to the door, but not before I look at the door, and the sign says open 4:30 or 7:30 to 4:30. And I turn it on, it's locked. Yet there's all kinds of cars in the parking lot. So finally, a gentleman comes to the door, and he looks, and says, can I help you? And I said, well, my first question is, you have a sign here saying specified time. Why is this public door locked when you say they open between 7:30 and 4:30 and it's 2:45? Oh, well, we just do it sometimes. I said, okay, well, my issue is you have a water leak under Fowler Lane, and something needs to be done about it. It's undermining the roads. It's becoming a safety issue because it freezes now with the cold weather. It's been leaking now for 3 months. Haven't seen a word out of it, hiding your hair for another week. I go back, same issue again, same gentleman comes to the door, locked again. And he said, can I help you? And I said, do you remember what I came here before? He kind of gave me a look, and so I told him, and this time he got out a tablet to write it down. And I said, okay. I said, but now I have another issue to go with this, is right down another 200 yards down Fowler. There's a bad situation where the blackberries have been allowed to grow out against the white line, and people walk there. And I saw a woman have to jump in the blackberries in this section they dug out where they found a dead body about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I really think you guys need to go in there and brush it, because there's a lot of people elderly people walking this stone. It's a hazard. Well, I think we can do something about that. And I said, I hope you can do something about that. And the other issue again is the water. Well, we've talked to EID about it, and we're trying to come. I've been now after it for over a month, and it's still leaking, and it's getting worse.
So it sounds like some buck passing going on there.
Buck passing. And
yeah. And so those are the type of things that you want to see fixed.
The road says it's in EID, but nobody's actually looking to see where the lake's coming from. And the eventuality is the road will go away because it's softening up the road base, whatever little is there. And the other problem is,
until it becomes a really bad problem.
Leak, it's could blow the water line out possibly someplace, and then really be a mess. So I am going to write a letter tonight to the director of the
DOT, Rafael Martinez, and see what I can get done now. I'm moving up the next chain of command.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, then I'll go to the Board of Supervisors, because it needs to get fixed. The issue of about a public door being closed during business hours also is an issue. Because what if I was somebody that drove up, took time off work to drive up there to be there at 3 o'clock and I get there and the door's locked?
Yeah.
I would not be very happy. Public doors need to be open during the specified hours.
Yeah.
So the public can come, talk and do whatever they have to do. As far as planning and building, there are some issues in the planning and building department. They say they've got all this backlog.
Mm-hmm. For like permitting and stuff you're talking about?
Trying to get permits through, and I have to look and say, okay, what did Henry Ford do? He developed the assembly line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're doing that. They're each person, however many people they have checking plans, has to do the whole plans.
Mm.
Why don't, obviously to me, something that could be looked into is taking take care of the first 2 pages. You take care of the second 2 pages, and you take care, spread it out over 3 people. So these people only have to look, and they know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
These people.
So you think that can all be streamlined?
It could be streamlined instead of one person handling, how does this, if this person takes 2 days to do it, and 3 people can do it in 3 hours, there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think, would help the developers, and help the people that are trying to get something through the county. I mean, I'm trying to help a friend right now with a boundary line adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Something really simple to do. And with COVID and everything on, we're in our 3rd year.
Oh, wow. That's a really long time.
It's a really long time.
So thank you for coming in, Brian. Where can people find more information about your campaign?
The best place to look is I have a website called theminersinch.us. You can find it on the internet. I have a Facebook page called The Miners Inch.
Mm-hmm.
I also have my own personal page on Facebook called Brian DeBerry. And I have stuff going on there, and I will be having signs out and up in the next 10 days. Okay. And anybody that would like to help and put signs up for me, I'd appreciate it. I need some help, but right now I'm doing this on my own because I know that there's people struggling out there.
Mm.
And I don't want to take, in my own clear conscience, I don't want to take people and separate them from their money. I would rather work to keep people with their money.
Mm.
So anything, word of mouth, if you have a place that works for a sign, call me at 530-957-8695 or get a hold of me at bkdeberry@yahoo.com.
Okay.
And other than that, I look forward to meeting each and everybody that I can meet. And I will be on the road now, off and on, for the next 5 weeks.
Great.
Trying to meet people and putting up signs and trying to get them to vote for me, and hopefully I will.
Awesome.
Hopefully they'll see that I've been in their corner. I'm not in the developer's corner.
Mm.
I'm not in big government's corner. I want to be in their corner for a change.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, Brian.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
I hope it didn't sound too overly, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for coming on and sharing everything that you're worried about in our county and things that you think you can fix for your campaign here.
But the last thing I want to stress, if I'm lucky enough to get in, I need everybody's help.
Mm.
That means because, like the insurance, we have to, if that couldn't work out, we have to get a vote of the public to do it. I just can't pass it as a person being on the board. We have to put up for a public vote.
Okay.
And so that's where I need issues that I think can go in front of the county and go in front of the people.
Mm-hmm.
I will do everything I can to get it out there and put it in front of them. Can I say one more issue?
Yeah, go for it.
Everybody knows there's a county charter. Mm-hmm. And I have been fighting to change this one Article 2, Section 504. I brought it up to the El Dorado County taxpayers. I went to the Charter Review Committee when they were reviewing the charter here about 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is,
is it sets the salaries of the sheriff's office.
Oh, okay.
And what happens is, back in about 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
they set it up to use as an average the comparable job. The police chief of South Lake Tahoe, the sheriff's office of Amador County, now wait for it, the California Highway Patrol. Now that's not a comparable office to me. Not when the person's making over $750,000 a year. So what I brought up to him, I wanted him to take the Highway Patrol out of that issue and find another comparable county our size to make the average. Because if you use the 750,000, you put it in the stratosphere. That's why we have huge numbers for the sheriff's office. Like I believe now it's around $400,000
For
the sheriff.
For payroll?
For pay, just for him.
Oh, just for
Just for him, because he's in that average mix, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the DA's office got tied to that a couple of years ago. So every time the Highway Patrol gets a raise, sheriff and DA are going to get a raise, right?
Mm.
So when the word of this got out, 2 more people rushed in and got their salaries tied to it, which is the CAO and the county council.
Oh, okay.
There again, so whatever, it's a nice little group at the top making a huge amount of money, and I think it's wrong for the taxpayers, and I'd like to see it just go back. It's gonna come up for a vote.
Mm-hmm.
County, the Board of Supervisors, quick as a bunny, they wanna hire an outside consulting firm, which is another issue with me, but I'm not gonna go into it right now. It's hiring outside consulting firms to do the work. You kick the question of whether to do this or not down the road to the next election 2 years from now. How many more people are gonna get tied to this huge salary bracket? They needed to make the decision right there on the spot and refix this thing so that it could go back down and be something that the taxpayers in this county could afford. You
Yeah,
know?
that sounds like another great issue that should be addressed.
I mean, I'm a CalPERS person, and I know how the system works for CalPERS because I retired from the state.
Mm-hmm.
But these people are getting I won't say it, but a lot of money in their retirement that is above and beyond what they ever put in.
Oh, okay.
And it's all because of this little wrinkle that was put in. And we need to bring it down, back down.
Okay.
As far as law enforcement go, I have many friends over the years who are law enforcement. I'm in favor of law enforcement. It's just sometimes the priorities that happen, I can't see spending money to buy a helicopter, a $3.1 million used helicopter from someplace in Florida, when we have people in Caldor area, in Grizzly Flats, that after 2 years are still living in tents. That's not right. They could have waited on the helicopter for another year and helped these people. That's what the government is supposed to do. That's what the federal government was supposed to be, is to, when it was designed, it was to give everybody their property rights, and the government was there to protect and help people. And somewhere along the lines, ripped it away from that. And that's what I want to try and get everybody to go back to in this county.
The government going back to helping people?
Yeah, we live in one of the best places, I feel, in the United States. And
I'd second that.
We're fast losing it. And I want to help try to stop that, history-wise, attitude-wise, and character-wise.
Great. I think that's a great way to close it out, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So this has been Liberty and EDC. This is Brian DeBerry. He's running for Supervisor, District 3. And you can find him on the ballot on March 5th coming up. And thank you for tuning in. You can find us on Comcast Channel 7, on YouTube, on social media out there. Just look for Foothill 7 TV. And we'll see you guys next time.